Welcome to The Big Picture. I'm Phil Arno. I talk about Hollywood a lot on this show, mostly because it's been a big part of our lives. Certainly, it's been a big part of my life, both growing up, watching movies, and then later on, working in that town on the Paramount lot and on the Fox lot, and meeting a lot of the same people I watched in those very movies for so long, for so many years. To me, movies were never just a form of entertainment. They were a major part of my education as a young kid. What I lacked in real-world role models, for instance, I just kind of made up by watching guys on the screen. I learned that you don't complain too much, maybe ignore that pain a little bit by watching guys like Humphrey Bogart and Clark Gable. How to be a romantic by watching Jimmy Stewart, Gary Cooper, Cary Grant. For patriotism, solving a little bit of life's problems. John Wayne was always a good go-to. Yeah, as an impressionable young kid, movies taught me a lot about truth, justice, and the American way. Or was that TV? Both, I guess. Anyway, my love affair with movies continues right here on WBBZ. And a big part of that takes place every Saturday night at midnight when we proudly present Offbeat Cinema, a nationally syndicated show that originates right here in our studios, now going into its 27th season this month. It's produced by the very talented local treasures John DeShulo and Jim Gillen. And then there are the Beatniks, who host the program, Bird, Zelda, and Theodore, who have partnered with local author Greg Sterlace and put together this book, Movies 365, a good movie for every day of the year. Man, that's quite an accomplishment. So, on the first part of today's Big Picture, the very lovely Constance Caldwell, who plays the extremely lovely Zelda on Offbeat, joins Greg Sterlace to talk about this, his fifth book, and his very first collaboration that he's ever had with Beatniks.
Thank you.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you for that introduction.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Well, you know, I want to know what possibly possessed you to come up with a book for 365 movies.
Well, I like those books, the cult movie books by Danny Peary, and I thought, well, he usually does 100 or he does 50, and I'm thinking, well, let's not do 200. And I'm thinking, if I'm going to write a book about movies, I'll do 200. Then I thought 300. Then I thought, well, if I'm doing 300, just one for every day of the year, because Peter Bogdanovich did a book had a movie for every week of the year. And I thought, Peter Bogdanovich, 52 movies, 365.
There you go.
Okay, and then you just didn't have anything else to do for a while, so okay.
Yeah, it took up all my time.
Okay.
Well, Greg is very scholarly, and he does study movies, and he's a student of movies. And he also I think, very generously invited Offbeat Cinema to present the book and to add our own little takes on different movies and themes and that kind of thing.
One for every day from January 1st to December 31st. Was there any method to your particular madness on this? I mean, how did you pick different movies for different days?
Well, my wife and I, Paula, we decided we'd find interesting holidays that are celebrated around the world and then match up whatever movie it was with the interesting holiday. And it took a long time. We had to go through, we were just going through holiday after holiday trying to figure out what matches January 1st. But there's like a holiday for every day of the year around the world. There's some weird thing, you know, like shoe running day, you know, or something that makes no sense. Running shoes day, I should say. Something like that. And so that's what we did. And we figured we just random. You're flipping through and you'll see, oh, what's July 4th? That's got to be something. Independence Day, you know, Christmas has to be something. But then you get other weirder ones. So that was basically the method to our madness. It was really maddening, but it works out well because it's kind of delightful to look at June 4th and see what it is. I don't know what June 4th is now. I don't remember. But you know, what's June 4th? What's the holiday that matches the movie? So it was really weird.
And you know what's really fun too, if you have the book and you can't think of a movie, I always flip to say, okay, what's today? And I look at the movie and I'm like, I already
It
saw
wasn't-
that. Maybe I'll, so I flip to the next page. So I'll see, maybe I'll see the next day. But
Yeah,
it's
you've already
great.
seen July
If you've
13th.
already seen it, but I love reading your take on it because Greg has a
it's
pretty
great.
far out rant
And you get a
about
book,
all of them. They're very funny.
you get a book like this, and you're not going to watch a movie every day, but a book like this is going to take you through years and years and years because, this year, maybe on October 4th, you're going to watch a movie, and next year on October 10th, you're going to watch a movie. And I mean, it just keeps on going and going, and it's a good reference for all
It's
the
a wonderful
movies.
reference
It
book,
really
if,
is.
if anything.
And
it's
everybody
that.
has their
Yeah.
favorite movie. Connie, what's your favorite movie?
Well, I love all Elia Kazan movies. Fell in love with them years and years ago, probably because of the theatrical angst he brings to them.
Quite a flair.
Yeah, and so for the sake of discussion, I was thinking Splendor in the Grass. Really, I remember falling in love with that being, but it was filmed far before I was born, but not far before, but by the time I saw it, it was
Fair
a
enough,
rerun,
yeah.
and I remember relating to it, growing up in a conservative, ultra-conservative environment, and then here it's about repression and
Now, perhaps you can tell me exactly what the poet means by such expressions as splendor in the grass and glory in the flower.
Well, I think it has some.
Yes?
Well, when we're young, we look at things very idealistically, I guess. And I think Wordsworth means that when we grow up, that we have to forget the ideals of youth and find strength as Medgar. May I please be?
very exciting movie to me, and it still is. I'll watch it, commercials and all, if it comes on.
Certain movies just kind of touch you. I mean, they just, you can basically get a good feeling out of it, identify with characters. You can kind of walk away with just a good warm feeling when you watch a movie that basically just has that connection.
Absolutely. I still cry when I see it. I still get that angst because Pat Hinkle's performance just, he's so kind of odious.
And Greg, what
Yeah.
about you? What's your favorite movie?
His Girl Friday, Cary Grant.
Yeah.
He taught me about romance.
Yeah. Well, and how to be a wise guy at the same time. Yeah.
Well,
I
he
want to talk
did
about
both.
I
Yeah.
want to talk to Paula about that.
Right. Good sense of humor, while being romantic.
Right.
Been seeing me in your dreams?
Oh, no, Mama doesn't dream about you anymore, Wally. You wouldn't know the old girl now.
Ah, yes, I would. I'd know you any time, any place.
Anywhere. Ah, you're repeating yourself, Walter. That's the speech you made the night you proposed.
Yeah, I know that you still remember it.
Of course, I remember it. If I didn't remember it, I wouldn't have divorced you.
Yes, I wish you hadn't done that, Hildy.
Done what?
Divorce me. Makes a fellow lose all faith in himself. Almost gives him a feeling he wasn't wanted.
Oh, now, look, Junior, that's what divorces are for.
It's a good combination.
Yeah, it's a screwball comedy, of course. So, and of course, it's romance, too, with him and his ex-wife in the movie. So you get the romance and the comedy.
Yeah. Yeah, very good. There was a certain style. Movies have evolved over the years. And I don't know whether, and this is a good debate, I guess, to have. I don't know whether movies have affected our society and the way we do things, or whether society has affected movies and the way movies portray society. I mean, it's kind of a symbiotic relationship. I'm not quite sure what has more influence on what, but as you look through the ages, there was a certain feel and patriotism and value to certain movies when I was growing up, World War II, and I mean, that's not when I was growing up, but when I was sitting at home on a Saturday afternoon watching movies. Those were the kind of movies you saw on TV. You know, the old movies with Audie Murphy and so on, you know, and there was a patriotism back then, and there was a certain that the good guys always won, you know, and they were wearing white, and the bad guys always wore black, and it was pretty clear cut. And then and then in the '60s, you had the change in the culture, and things got kind of blurred a little bit, and everything. I'm not sure whether it was culture again, affecting movies or vice versa. What do you think?
Well, definitely, I think it was more in the later days of the movies. It was the culture affecting the movies because things got looser in terms of long hair, drugs. There was actually anti-war sentiment with Vietnam War, unlike World War II, where it was basically like all for one, one for all. So I think when the movies changed and got to explore subject matter with swearing and more sex and more violence, I think it was the culture actually creating that, because we can actually show what's going on in the culture with politics and what's going on in society. So I think it was the later days, it switched gears because of that, because society influenced the movies to switch gears to give the people more of a reflection of what was actually happening. That's what I think.
Yeah, and I think people do get their, I mean, I know I did growing up watching movies. They get some of their social cues from watching the movies. On good and bad and right and who, you know, especially if a movie is layered, as I think they are now, and not to say they weren't back in the day. There's art movies that never really gained the popularity they probably should have because they were so layered and complex and not so black and white. But I don't know, it's an exciting industry, and then it's an exciting art form, and it is an industry at the end of the day for big Hollywood movies, and I tend to like the smaller indie movies. I feel they're more slice of real life.
Well, you know, you mentioned it as an art form, and that, to a degree, all movies are part of, they're not just little pictures that are snapshots in time as it goes through a source of light. It is a picture that is weaved together by a director, and it's a form of art. And if it's done well, I don't care whether it's low budget or high budget, if it's a good director, if it's somebody who really has a message and wants to paint a picture for us, that's got a value to it. I mean, the extreme case, and we talked about this before the show, my favorite movies are anything by David Lean, who was a director that he painted a picture for
Beautiful
you in
pictures.
his movies. You know, Dr. Zhivago and Lawrence of Arabia, and you know, he knew how to tell a story visually that it was beautiful, and he could draw your attention to what he wanted to tell you. I mean, it was like an artist with a brush. So you have okay. Let's get down to business here. You've got a party coming up to to unleash the book.
Yeah,
right?
we'll talk more about it at the party.
Yeah. October 24th?
October 24th.
Tell me about that.
It's a Thursday. It's at Row Halls, which is a very cool 50s vibe bar in Tavern Lake in Black Rock on Amherst. And
It's your anniversary party.
It's
right.
our anniversary party. It's Offbeat Cinema, and here's a distinction about it's. Because I had to ask, though, is it the 26th or the 27th? It's the 26th year on air, but we're moving into the 27th season. Okay. And we always like to celebrate that milestone because, phew.
Quarter century, more than a quarter century.
Yeah.
And the parties are always fun and they're chill, and we have music and food. Of course, Greg's going to be there. We'll be there to talk about movies. It'll be a live feed. We hope all our friends will come. And
That's terrific. I mean, that's really, really great.
And I should point out, if anyone wants to get the book in advance, which I would recommend, because I think it's they can get it by
Yeah.
the 24th for sure. If they just go on offbeatcinema.tv,
Right. I think we
right
put
on the
that
front
graphic
page is
up,
the
yeah.
banner. Just click on that. You'll go to Lulu, Amazon, all the places is available.
It's also at Talking Leaves on Elmwood.
Yeah,
Okay.
Talking Leaves, and I think it'll be at Terrapin Station. For
On
they'll
Hurdle.
have a limited number, but they'll supply them as the demand grows. And so there's a lot of excitement around this book. We have many radio shows that are forthcoming, and we'll be promoting this book until Greg wants to do the second volume. We can talk
working
about
on
your
that
favorite
already.
Well, I'll
movies.
tell you what, yeah, that's great. Well, you know what, thanks to Connie and Greg for being my guests. And if you're a movie fan, you know, here's a book that's going to take you through, you know, years and years of enjoyment. It's well worth it. And when we come back with the big picture, we're going to meet with a friend of ours, Mercedes Wilson, and talk about something that touches every one of us. So don't go away. We'll be back right after this.